So we're going to compute all of these here, making sure that we pay attention to the order of operations. This is a negative 20 minus 2, and it might sound like we're subtracting something from something else, but really this is kind of an addition problem where we have a negative 20 and a negative 2. We're basically heading in the negative direction twice. It was explained to me that we could think of this as good guys and bad guys going to war, and it's war if they're going the opposite direction, but they're at peace here. They're both bad guys. 20 bad guys and 2 more bad guys give us a total of negative 22, or 22 bad guys. Head in the same direction. We're basically adding a 20 and a 2, but they're negative. Here we've got a 15 plus 20 times negative 3. So we're going to take care of our multiplication first. The 15, we can't do anything with it, but then we'll take this and call it a negative 60, which is, 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Tack the 0 on, it's a negative 60. So 15 minus 60, if we think about that as good versus bad, again, we've got more bad guys and only 15 good guys. So there's a lot more bad guys. In fact, if you kind of subtract in your brain 60 minus 15, that's 45. But it should be a negative number because you're taking away a lot more than you started with. Anytime you see a minus with a parentheses, you're going to want to change that to a plus, but then inside you can change that as well. I've seen this turn into a big plus. However you kind of keep that straight, you want to see that this is now a positive 30 and that's a negative 17. So finally the good guys win here. So 30 minus 17, you get a positive 13 from that. Parentheses, you got to do this stuff first. So the negative 6 and the 11, that gives you a positive 5, but we still have the 2 out in front before we can subtract the 12. So 2 times 5 is 10. 10 minus 12 is ultimately what we do to find that the answer is negative 2. We're just adding more layers here. This is a 5 minus 10. Well, that's a negative 5, but now we got to square it. And this, the hardest part about this is just being patient and waiting until this whole thing develops here. It's a slow developing problem here. This negative 5 squared now is going to become a positive 5 because it's a negative times a negative. So now we've got a 25, but now we still have to divide by 5 before, and these brackets are, they're brackets, not parentheses, but that's just because there's a layer upon a layer here. So we still have the minus 9 to contend with. So now I've got the 2 times whatever the result of this is. 25 divided by 5 is equal to 5. So now it becomes 2 times 5 minus 9. That's 10 minus 9, which is 1. So it took us a while to get there, but we kept organized and followed through and simplified, and we got our answer. 4 minus 6 is going to set us up like this over here. It's temporarily a negative 2, but we're going to square that. Minus. Now inside here, you can distribute that negative immediately, but since they're like terms, 3 minus 6 is a negative 3. So ultimately, we're going to have to do that little distribute the negative thing. Out here, we got a negative 3. Talked about this being squared as a positive 4 plus a positive. It's the same as minus a negative. So we're going to add 3 to that. And then ultimately, we'll multiply by negative 3. So negative 3 times 7. I know I turn these square-like brackets into parentheses, but I combine them together, and so now it's just a matter of saying 3 times the sum of that. Negative 3 times 7 equals negative 21.